Other than the border right now, sadly, between Ukraine and Romania and the neighboring countries in Ukraine, in Poland perhaps, can't think of any other migration issue anywhere in the globe that's similar to this. It is a unique problem. It's a unique challenge that we have to rise to the occasion to deal with. Now, our final topic for the show today. You are probably familiar with the Defund Police movement, and some of the members of that movement are members of Congress. What you might not know is that some of the same people advocating to defund the police also have taxpayer-funded private security details. Now, there are many parts of the country where a private security detail would be helpful, of course. But if it seems hypocritical to you to, on one hand, call for the defunding of the police, and on the other hand, have a taxpayer-funded, privately funded security detail, you aren't the only one who sees that as hypocritical. Our next guest found this hypocrisy startling enough that he introduced a resolution that would prevent any legislator who advocates for defunding the police from accessing taxpayer-funded security. And we are waiting now to have Congressman Greg Murphy join us. He has introduced this resolution. This is a unique, it's an interesting issue. And oftentimes in politics, you introduce resolutions rather than legislation because you want to make a particular point. There's an argument, there's an issue worth bringing attention to the public for, raising the awareness for the public of the issue is probably a better way of saying that. And he has introduced a resolution as a way of bringing to the public's attention the fact that, and one thing I don't even know that I was aware of, is the fact that taxpayers pay for private security for members of Congress. How long has this been going on? But of course, it is clear that there is a bit of hypocrisy when a member of Congress would say, hey, taxpayers, I need you to fund and pay for a private security detail for me so that when I go someplace, there are people assigned specifically to me to keep me and only me safe from whatever threats the world offers. And of course, most people don't have that luxury. But what we have had historically is a police department, and now those are seeking to be defunded by some members of Congress. And joining me now to discuss it all is Congressman Greg Murphy, who serves on the House Ways and Means Committee and represents North Carolina's 3rd District. Congressman Murphy, welcome to Washington Watch.
Hey, Joseph, good afternoon. I hope you're doing well.
I am well, and I am glad to have you today. This is clever and I think important. Tell me the background. What prompted you to introduce a resolution saying that if you're trying to defund the police, you don't get taxpayer-funded private security details?
You know, Joseph, it's just continue with the hypocrisy of the Democratic left. When I heard specifically that Cori Bush had used hundreds of thousands of taxpayer dollars while she is screaming out to defund the police, and she's used hundreds of thousands of taxpayer dollars for her own personal security, I just felt it had to be messaged. It had to be brought out. I don't believe in Nancy Pelosi's world this is going to go anywhere, but I do think it's important that people know, especially in her district, that she has said to not have policemen for her people, her district, her constituents. But no, on the other hand, it's okay for her to have safety and security by using our taxpayer dollars. It is the ultimate in hypocrisy.
Congressman, I mentioned in the intro to this conversation that I was not aware prior to this that taxpayers were funding private security details for members of Congress. How common is this?
Well, I'm not sure how common it is, Joseph. We're allowed to use some of our members' allowance for security, especially if there are death threats and some of these other things. I've had them myself, but nothing on the scale that we have seen before from some of these progressive left people, where they're using hundreds of thousands of dollars, and they're at the same time saying, look, I don't think we need security for my constituents. I don't want any police officers for my constituents. We're not funding safety and security for you, my constituents, but we're going to fund it for me. So it's follow the rules, but don't do what I say, but not what I do. And that nonsense has to stop.
rules for me and rules for thee. This isn't the first time we've seen something like this out of Washington, D.C., of course. I'm unfamiliar with how often you speak to all of your colleagues in Congress. You mentioned Congresswoman Cori Bush specifically. Have you had a response? Have you gotten a response, had a chance to talk to her about this? How does a member of Congress reconcile an effort to publicly defund the police while at the same time having a highly funded private security detail?
Yeah, I don't think I can have that discussion with her. I don't see that. I don't think she's able to have that type of discussion. And, we got up a few weeks ago and did a special hour to honor our police officers. And here she is. She's sitting up in the dais in the place of speaker. And we're speaking on the House floor about our police officers. And she's sitting up in the dais playing on her telephone. She wouldn't give us the respect that other members of Congress should give. She's up playing on her telephone when we're talking about police officers who've literally risked their lives for the security of the people of this nation. What an utterly despicable act that was. And I'm sorry, this is what this nation doesn't need. It doesn't need hypocritical leaders. And she's being the epitome of it in this particular instance.
And Congressman Murphy, I think most of America would agree with you in this case. And I would also venture to say that the White House has moved away from this defund police movement. And I dare say that the right has won on this issue, because I think the left has realized this is not a political winner, that people want to have police protection. They want to have someone to call when something bad happens, and they want to, for the very same reasons that Congresswoman Cori Bush wants to have security as well. And I think America understands this for what it is, and we appreciate you bringing it to our attention in your time today. Thank you so much.
Great. Take care. God bless.